Yo, what is oop everybody, and welcome to another top 5 tips of the month. This is a video series that I do each and every month that looks over top 5 tips that would be interest and also kind of put into things like places of grinding units, revives, health potions, things like that, and just some best practices and especially important things to remind players when thinking about the month and also past the month as well. So let's get into it. The first tip is all about the side quest. Side quest is a bit of a weird one because it comes in episodic things like episodes 1 to 4 for 4 weeks. Each episode is a week-based content for this, and you get 4 entries per difficulty in this particular quest. It can be a little bit annoying because it can feel like there's a lot of pressure in order to succeed. There will be extra passes if you've made a mistake that may be available in the featured item store, but it's still something that we're still trying to find out 100% if they're going to be available. And also what will be the cost, because that's also a key thing there. The side quest does come complete with some objectives, which are indeed a little bit annoying because you have to either do class disadvantage or you have to do it in one try. FYI, one of my favorite champions to use against this is OG Guillotine because she has bleed as her kit and also can do a lot of damage with her bleed vulnerability. But also look out for the likes of Widow Clairevoyant, Morningstar, to name but a few other champions that are mystic that can be very helpful in playing into that bleed debuff or bleed debuff and bleed vulnerability narrative for it. So that's something to mention. I would say that for anybody looking for options of the best champions to take against this, maybe watch things like YouTube and get involved with the forums. Also, your alliance mates can come up with really decent ideas and options who to take against these particular champions and content that may be there. Tip number 2 is all about unit farming. This is the really important time that we are now in month 2 or kind of midway through month 2 of the year in Marvel Contest of Champions, and unit farming does come it's a constant thing, especially if you're like myself, you're non-spending. Any other free-to-play players out there know exactly the same thing. It's 20 weeks and 4 days until July 4th deals. It is also 144 days until July 4th deals as well. Why is that those particular numbers important? And well, it's very much obvious. If you're saving up for deals, the time to grind is now. And with the time to grind being now, there's lots of different things that you can do. I will be doing a full breakdown of how much units you can technically acquire between now or kind of close to now, maybe next week, and also July 4th deals. It's important to mention because we could see ourselves getting some extra stuff that we might want to buy. That extra stuff may be Act 8.2. If rumors are true that Act 8.2 is going to be dropped in April, then it could mean that you might want to save up for a deal that's coming with it. Now, if I remember rightly, anything between 7,000 to 10,000 units could be what you'll need to save up for. So where does that really kind of put us with saving up any kind of like amounts of units and volumes? What can you look to achieve? You know, those are going to be some really key things. I mean, I'll just throw some stats at you right now, which is the following. With doing 144 22-hour solo events, you can potentially get yourself 25 units. Now, do bear in mind there will be a discrepancy with that one because I'm kind of referring to this as 24 hours opposed to 22 hour, but it's just ease of motion. Like it could be you get 156 solo events, but let's just say for ease, 144 times 25 units is 3,600 units if you're doing all of the 22-hour events. As also, if you're willing to do per week for 500 units a week, then you could get yourself 10,000 units. If you're willing to grind 1,000 units a week for those 20 weeks, you could look to see yourself at 20,000 units. So it just gives you a bit of perspective right there that if and what you're actually searching for is going to be coming up. You could be looking for selectors to improve your champion selection. You could be looking to other means to kind of get more rank up resources. You could be focusing on 7-star shards if they're in these particular deals, or you could be focusing on something completely different like rank up resources like tier 3 alpha, tier 6 basic, or indeed the rank 5 materials as 6 stars, or a lot lower than that, and get yourself up to the next progression. Either way, planning is important. Get yourself involved with Arena, get yourself involved with doing some of the questing type elements and free units you get from that one, and make sure that you use your units, not as Kabam say, use them on revives and health potions. No! You've got to save them up, you know, free to play to access these amazing stuffs when it comes to July 4th deals and also Cyber Weekend deals. Tip number 3 is all about the double track event that's on at the moment. Do bear in mind you can practice, I believe practice, and also go and duel certain champions, especially when it comes to like Deadpools you've got to be focused on to go and grind against. Look out for these and make sure you do them, because it's going to be important. Because you get free units. There's also some other stuff like a free full energy refill. Really handy if you want to save that for things like Battlegrounds. There's some really kind of decent stuff to grab. So really take this seriously, especially for the length of time that it's on. There's another 2 full energy refills in it, which is actually really nice. And right at the end of it, there is a really nice selector. So you can get yourself a 5-star Rogue Love selector and choosing a champion that you might want if you don't have that champion already. Or kind of like look to other means of things that you get from this, other little kind of like fun items. Obviously, if you spent on this one, you get yourself a nice little, well, cheeky, I think it's like a cheeky like 6-star selector thing. Is that the case of like a 6-star crystal? There's definitely some like spicy stuff on offer and some relatively okay stuff, especially if you're willing to go further and beyond. The only other thing is get involved with the B Mojo's Valentine's gifting event, because like it's just an extra thing that's there. There are some nice kind of like extra little rewards for it, especially for those that just want to do the objectives and then send stuff and receive stuff. It's not super game breaking stuff, but if you want some free shards, especially to open up from a Cavalier upwards perspective, you could find yourself picking up a new 6-star. So it's kind of important to get involved with that. Do your objectives, focus on them, and yeah, get some more of those tickets and stuff, and send them from the calendar when you get an opportunity. Tip number 4 is all about Battlegrounds meta. Battlegrounds meta is really important because I always think it's good to lose a lot of fights in Battlegrounds in the first kind of few days, especially because what you can do is gather intel. When you gather that intel, the intel will be, or the information will be, who is going to be frustrating. If you had a frustrating time against a certain champion because the node amplifies it in certain ways, depending on whatever champion it is on defense and such like, then what you can do is you can go and look at your particular deck, your champion roster, and then make decisions about rank ups to then go, right, well, if that was a frustrating defender for me, then it will be a frustrating defender for somebody else. And that's what you need to do, is set up certain champions to face off against others. It's not going to be sufficient all the time. But at least what you can do is create options. The part 2 to this is all about acquiring rank up based materials as quickly as possible. So do 1 week grind in Battlegrounds and see how far you get some ideas of which champions you might want to kind of like rank up for whatever reason. And yes, I'm not saying that it's a good thing that Kabam are passive aggressively forcing you in a way to kind of rank up a lot of champions to then have them as defense options. But what I'm saying is, like, you might just want to get involved with these metas as they go, and you may even get the resources that you invested in back in some sort of shape or form down the line with some of the rewards from the store and also from the end solo event. So where do you go to get rank up resources quickly? I would say, first of all, it's got to be about your Glory Store. Go to Glory Store. Make sure that you're prioritizing your rank up resources as a priority. Then look to other things that has stores like the Loyalty Store, maybe even the Battleground Store, reinvesting into your grind with Tier 5 basics and such like, Tier 2 Alpha. But I would say Glory Store first and then take it from there with other places. The Loyalty Store, depending on the volume of loyalty you have as to like how you invest in certain ways, there may be some rank up resources there. Again, not saying that is the best option, because there's limited amount with that, and loyalty is is a very valuable commodity for a lot of players. But I would say it's best to go and do some of your side quest, some of your event quest, smash that out first, grab all the resources, and then use that as a reinvestment to your rank ups. Yes, it sucks that you may feel like you're forced to do that, but at the same time, unfortunately, we can't hate the player. We have to we have to hate the game when it comes to like the go grind and farm and stuff. It would be good if there was an arena with Tier 5 basics and Tier 2 Alpha in, but there's not. In any case, you may want to go and grab some stuff from Event Quest and Side Quest first before going into ranking up any champion. And the final tip is all about energy farming, revive farming, health potion farming. Those are 3 very important things. For me personally, as I've said, we've rated the 22-hour events. 22-hour events are very important. Yes, I've got 4 hours left on Arena Wins. I've got to get this done as soon as possible before it expires. That's the first thing, because you get the revive, you get the health potion, you get the 25 units. three very important things, especially if you're non-spending, and it's a better way to acquire. So plan your grind adequately. As we said as well, within the double track event, there is some energy refills on offer. There is 3 full energy refills on offer. Yes, there's some small ones. I do hear rumor that 5.3.6 is a good place now to go and farm some energy. So 5.3.6, you can farm it. Do bear in mind though, you're gonna have to outweigh the cost of kind of grinding the path, because you have to do it to completion in order to replay and kind of go, well, not replay, but go back to it, because that's reset the route, as I always say, reset the path. Otherwise you won't be able to kind of like capture more when it comes to energy refills. I use Act 3.2.6, but there are other places to go in order to grab things like revives and health potions, or revives and 4 energy refills. Sorry, those 2 things are very, very important, especially because the 2 energy spend. It is a good place to go, and very important, especially if you're like myself, working towards going back into EOP. And after doing 2 runs, or 1 run with 2 objectives, I've now got 4 runs left to do, which I've got I think 2 difficult ones and then 3 okay ones. So I'm looking forward to kind of like 2 difficult ones and 2 kind of like average ones. So I'm looking forward to going back into that one. But again, that plays into ranking up champions to make them the most effective and potent possible. But I'm looking forward to doing that within the next 2 months, whenever I can, because there's a lot of stuff to do in MCOC. In any case, that has been it. That's been my top 5 tips for the month. Details and write-up and description down below. Check out some other content located on the screen. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing. And yeah, cheers everybody. Bye-bye.